Around the Ozarks is now on your FM radio. Listen to Around the Ozarks mornings with Grace Gooley as I spotlight local people, stories, and podcasts, all while playing the country legends of the 90s and the hit makers of the 2000s. It's on the Ozarks Best Country, 105.1 The Bull. It's time for Around the Ozarks Sports Scene, brought to you by Colton Steakhouse, Thompson Sales, and Deadeye Gun and Pawn in Sparta. Here's your host, Scott Puryear.
Welcome into another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. I am Scott Puryear. As always, big thank you to you for tuning in this week as we talk local, regional, national sports, whatever the hot topics are, we're going to dive into them. And today we're going to talk about a red-hot basketball team here in town. The Drury Lady Panthers are rolling right now, 9-game winning streak, and chasing down UMSL for the Great Lakes Valley Conference lead. And we welcome in Coach Kaci Bailey. Kaci, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk to you.
You betcha. Yeah, playing very well right now, which I know is the goal of every coach. Get to February and start building some momentum and see what happens. You're 18-6 overall, 15-2 in the GLVC. You're going into a showdown with SBU tomorrow night in the annual Highway 13 Catfight Part 2, as there's 2 meetings a year. But looks like things are kind of clicking for your team now. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think early we had a really tough non-conference schedule. We purposely scheduled that way. I mean, we opened up on the road with our Feathers trip, going to Ferris, who's having a really, really good year. Have 4 out of their 5 starters are really good, all conference seniors. So we opened up with that game, and then we went on the road to Saginaw, who was playing really good early. So I do think that we were battle tested early, I think, which was good for us. We were kind of a new team. We're kind of young. I mean, yes, we have a lot of returners, but very different roles, very limited minutes last year besides, Ree Gibbons and even Sarah Mendel to a degree, but just surrounded by some really good players last year. So very different roles this year. So we knew we were going to have some bumps in the road and try to figure out our own identity. And so I do think our non-conference helped us in being battle tested. And we've been in some, I don't even know the number of games, like maybe 8 or maybe 10 games that have been decided 10 points or less. So we've been in a lot of really close games. We've been in like two overtime games. So it's just, we've had a lot thrown at us, a lot of adversity, a lot of things where we've just had to stick together. We've been down, we've been up, we've come back, and we've won on a buzzer beater. So in any scenario you think of, we've kind of been through it this year. So I do think our non-conference being battle tested early helped us get to this point and kind of sustain some of that. And we're just trying to really stay the course and just having kind of an unwavering belief. You want to play your best basketball right now, like you said. I mean, this is the month that kind of propels you, into March for the conference tournament. So we just got a locker room full of kids that believe in each other. They're having fun. I think when you watch us play, you can tell when we're ourselves and we're having fun. And we're just clicking at the right time right now.
3rd season for you now in Drury. Of course, came here from the head coaching job at Quincy in the GLVC. Won 25 games your first year, at 22 the second year, on that kind of pace again this year. How does this season, season 3, feel different for you as the Lady Panthers head coach?
I think a little less stressful for me personally. Obviously, anytime you transition, that first year is just kind of a whirlwind. It just comes with it. You're trying to figure out, just simple as how do you do your credit card and like all those other things besides the X and O stuff. And so, now we've been able to, take a deep breath with our recruiting and being able to get some continuity kind of with our recruiting and, with our staff. Coach Knutson was with me for 4 years and then took an assistant at Arizona, but Coach Smith has been with me for all 3 years now, and was able to hire Peyton Richards back, who is familiar obviously with this. And so just having some continuity and a lot of different things has just kind of helped. And, like I said, this year we've had a lot of returners that saw some minutes last year, but played behind some really good players with the Micaiah Brooks and the Caitlin Daniels and the Anna Hitz, those kind of our big three last year. And so, like the Kaylee King and the Jasmine Grays, who are starting this year, got to practice and play with those kids. And so I think learned a lot from them. And those players last year did a really good job of leading these young ones. And then now here they are, and they're ready for their own. But we just have seen a lot in these last 3 years, but we've just been able to develop. You take someone like a Sarah Mendel who honestly didn't have a lot of recruitment out of high school. She was tall, but she wasn't very strong. She was, I'll say it on air, she was a little soft in high school, and just kind of wanted to stand out and shoot 15-footers, didn't really want to bang around the rim. And, obviously was committed to another school. And then when I got the job here, was able to get her over here. But she was always a kid that we said, I think if we can get her, we can develop her. And I remember saying a couple years ago, man, by her junior year, she's going to be really good. Didn't know maybe this good of a year. She's obviously having a phenomenal year and even had a good year last year. But I do remember saying, by her junior year, she's going to be really good. So I think we've just had some players that just stayed the course and developed. You looked at Kaylee King, who had to redshirt her freshman year. That was a big learning and growing year for her. And then for her to be able to back up someone of Caitlin Daniels' caliber last year to run in our point this year. We just have had kids stay in the system, and have some continuity with our roster, and some people wait in line and take their turn, and not jump ship because maybe they didn't get playing time that they wanted right away, and have put in work. I mean, Sarah Mendel's one of those kids. If everyone could have saw her when she stepped on campus in June for camp, to work camp and do lifting, she was Bambi. And she'll tell you, she called home crying, like, what am I doing? What did I sign up for? But she's definitely put in the work, and she's done, a lot of training on her own at home with a trainer, and but she's just stayed the course and just believed, and she's put in the work, and all these kids right now are very deserving of the success they're having because they put in the work.
First of all, the success in February is nothing new. Your teams are 16-3 in February at Drury, so this is kind of becoming the norm. But I think one of the most impressive things that you touched a lot on it is the development. And in today's game with transfer portal and of course the NIL is not a huge thing at the D2 level, but it is at D1, and it lures kids out of D2 to come there and play. I guess the more you can keep things the same, the better teams can grow. And I look at Ree Gibbons, the senior from Nixa that, she was, I watched her play in high school. She was pretty much a role player for Nixa, one of about 5 or 6 for Jen Perryman there that could get it done. But by no means somebody that you would say, well, she's going to average almost 15 a game, by the time she's done here. And then Sarah Mendel, the talk you mentioned about her when she got there, I'm looking at the stats. She needs one more double-double to break out of a tie. She's had 18 double-doubles this year. One more pulls her out of a tie with Reese Schaff, who was the regional player of the year and an All-American. And you look at what she's doing in other ways, she's hanging in a crowd there, Ree Gibbons. Yep. She's got 28 consecutive double-figure games, trailing only Paige Robinson and Haley Dieselkamp, to
pretty good company to be around.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are kids that you've been able to elevate from good high school players, to very key people on Division II college basketball teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've had a conversation with Jennifer Perryman last year, and she was like, Ree was a surprise. No one thought Ree would have the career here that she's having, last year and this year. And so I tell people all the time, it's amazing what a little confidence will do for people. And we try to, obviously we work really hard, but myself and my staff, we're very relationship based, and yes, we want to win games, but we do really try to build relationship with our players and get to know them as people. And I think if you ask any of them, that's a big reason why they stay is, especially in this transactional world nowadays, that's really important. So we try to create an environment where we work really hard, but we also try to have fun. And it's definitely a family atmosphere. And so I think when you can get both of those combined, you can work really hard and you can get people to buy in and enjoy what they're doing and enjoy who they're doing it with. you can get players like that to stay. And then you have some success, and you can just see, for me personally, it's been fun to just kind of watch them grow. The Sarah Mendels, even Jasmine Gray, who really last year was her freshman year, and now she's starting for us. And, Kaylee King started out the year and didn't really start the year playing very well, shot the ball really, really poorly early in the year. And, everybody's like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? It's like, no, like I know who this kid is. I know her work ethic, like stay the course. And, now she's averaging double digits, really past the second half of the year, hasn't missed a free throw all year. Let's knock on wood. But just kind of really has just stayed the course. And again, they're all just putting in the work. Obviously we work hard in practice, but they all put in a lot of work outside of the hours that are required for them too. But it's been fun. It's been fun to watch all of them, our little babies, grow.
Well, and for those who aren't familiar, Kaci Bailey was a 7-year assistant on Division I benches, including with Nyla Millison, the current Drury Director of Athletics, and the architect of this Lady Panthers program back in the early 2000s. Spent time with her at George Mason. You're also at Wichita State and Central Arkansas. Then took the Quincy job for your first head coaching job. Went from 2 wins to 13 in your 2 seasons and showed those signs of improvement. But I think the fun and amazing thing is this. Okay, so, Molly Miller, what she did with Drury Lady Panther basketball, she was building on what Steve Huber and Steve Harold and Nyla had done with that program. The Drury Lady Panthers basketball program on a smaller scale in D2 would be like Gino Ariema saying, hey, I'm going to step down. Why don't you come coach UConn for a while, right, on the D2 level. And, you'd had 2 seasons of head coaching under your belt. Nyla Millison calls you and offers you the job. There are a lot of people that might have shook their head and go, coach, I don't know. I mean, I'm stepping into a wolf's den there with what Molly had done and what Amy Egan had done before she went on now. And both of those, I think they're at 21 and 20 wins right now at Arizona State and Lindenwood. Was there ever doubt in your mind that you were ready for this? Or when you got here, did you kind of go, whew, this is bigger than I thought it might be? Just talk about that process.
Yeah, no, it's obvious. Yeah, it's a great question. It's a loaded question. I have a lot of mixed emotions around all of it. But I remember when I got the Quincy job, talking to one of my friends who's a coach too, and she was like, just because I took over, obviously, a program that had been successful back in like 2015, but since 2015, Quincy was really just gone downhill, and
it wasn't the old Quincy. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
And so they obviously wanted a change there and new energy, and so it was like, I knew it was going to be a tough sell, right? And it's a complete rebuild kind of thing. And I remember one of my friends saying, well, I'd rather take over a bad program like that and build it than take over a program like Drury. And I'm like, yeah, me too, and so, there's no expectations, and
the bar's low. Yeah.
Right. If you win, great. And, all those things. And then fast forward 2 years later, I was like, when I got the phone call, I was like, probably won't repeat what I said immediately. I was like, oh, wow. But it was just kind of one of those things. I remember I was sitting at home on the computer working when kind of news kind of broke that Amy was leaving and all that stuff. And, things just kind of went from there. And I was just like, oh, wow, like I had no intention of leaving Quincy so soon. We had obviously made really big strides in year 2. We had everyone coming back. We had a couple good freshmen, Marianne Blass, who ended up being all conference last year. We had signed a couple good freshmen. And so really, really was excited about where we were going to be in year 3. And we had just actually played Drury in the conference tournament in the first round and lost by 1. And actually, Beth Martin had a chance to win it. So, obviously was really excited about where year 3 was going. And then, but it's kind of one of those things. It's, anytime, I think the first big thing was being able to come work with Nyla again. Obviously, big respect for her. Obviously, a mentor of mine, obviously a friend, but just, I was able to spend 4 years with her. And when you can spend as an assistant and a head coach, you kind of go through the trenches together. You see a lot of things together. So just to have the opportunity to work for her was a big thing. And then, secondly, it's Drury. I mean, I always say there's a brand. I didn't feel like no matter how long I stayed at Quincy that I could ever build that brand that the name carries. But there was no doubt there was a lot of pressure. Obviously, I think everyone knows Drury because of, what Molly Miller did kind of in her, I think, 6 years here. And then Amy, obviously a little bit different transition because Amy was an assistant here. So easy transition. The whole roster stayed. You recruited some of the kids coming in. So, it's seamless. And then, when Amy left, there was a big group of seniors. All 4 freshmen that they had signed went with Amy to Lindenwood. So it was mid-April, I think, when I got the job. And it's like, oh, yeah, you have 6 players on the roster. And what they're just coming off of like a 30-something win season. Yeah. You've got 6 players. Some played, some haven't played. But, hey, you still need to win. And it's not a great time to go and recruit. So that first year was a whirlwind. But obviously there was probably more pressure that I just put on myself because first and foremost I didn't want to let Nyla down. I mean, this is obviously a program that she started. There's no one that is probably more protective of the program and has more invested than her. And so she obviously wanted to make sure it was in good hands. So obviously I was very honored that she trusted me to be the next one, knowing the situation I was walking into, that she felt like I could get it done. And so I know I'm well aware there was a lot of doubt around the hire and was I ready and could I do it? I heard all the outside noise, but at the end of the day, you bet on yourself. I was confident in what I could do and to put a staff together. And at the end of the day, as long as I had Nyla's support, that's really all I needed. And then here we are. So it's been fun. I've got to meet a lot of great people and I've kind of immersed myself in this Springfield community, which is one of the best communities and supportive. And, I've got to coach some really, really good players over the last 3 years. So it's been fun.
It's a blessing having somebody like Nyla 3 offices down to bounce things off of, but there's also a lot of pressure with that too. I mean, you're following something she built from the ground up, and how often has it been fewer and far between now since you're in year 3 that you've had to go in there and shut the door and have a talk about this, or do you still use that pipeline quite a bit?
Yeah, sometimes I'll call her and I'm like, okay, I need your boss's hat on. Or sometimes I'll call and be like, okay, I need your friend or mentor hat on. So yeah. She's really good about differentiate, like, okay, if you're in my shoes, what do you do? But she's 100% always someone that I lean on, someone that I trust dearly. I always respect her opinion. She really tries to. I actually had lunch with someone earlier and they were like, does she give you advice? I'm like, she really tries to stay out of the coaching advice. I said, but every now and then she'd be like, well, here's my 2 cents on this. But we obviously have a great relationship, but there's no doubt if there's something going on or a situation arises and, I'm struggling maybe how to handle it or what course to take. She's definitely always open to, okay, here's what I would do if I was in your situation, and here's what I would do as I'm your boss kind of thing. So that is huge. I mean, I think if anybody knows like who you work for and just having that support is huge. And then she gets it too. Like, if I go to her about like, oh, we need this, or, we want to do this or something, like she understands it because she was literally in my shoes. So she gets it from a standpoint of, why we want to leave early to get to somewhere on a road trip or just different things. She just understands it because she's been through it. But yeah, there's no doubt. I still every day wake up to try to make her proud, just because, like you said, she built this thing from the ground up. So there's no one that kind of has more invested in this program than her. And I tell her often that, I don't want to let you down. I've said that before. I don't want to let you down. And but she does understand, like, things are different nowadays. Things are different in recruiting and parity and just the landscape of everything. It's a different battle nowadays, but I think we're doing it the right way. I think we're retaining kids. We've got good kids, and we're still able to win at a high level.
Now, when you worry is if she walks out of that tunnel with a whistle around her neck, then right, that's when
right.
Maybe, yeah. But
Right.
and what do you hope is the earmark of the Kaci Bailey Drury basketball teams? Is it? I mean, are you very similar to what Nyla, what Molly, what Amy did, or what is Casey's stamp on the program?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it was fun to have, Haley Disselkamp and Deja Bernard got inducted into the Hall of Fame recently. And so they came back, and it was great to have them on campus. And they came in the locker room after our game and talked to our players. So it was really cool to hear them talk. And they were like, really appreciative that they felt like we were carrying on. Everybody knows Molly Miller and her Benergy. I felt like she kind of created that word. And, I remember Deja saying, like, I'm really thankful, like, you guys are still carrying that on, like, to see your huddles and to see your bench was awesome. To that group, that's what Drury Lady Panther basketball is. And when they got to come watch us, they felt like that standard had not dipped at all. And so obviously that's who I am as a person. I want to do things the right way. Obviously want to win, but high character, high motor is what we always say when we recruit. So we want to get really good young ladies in here, obviously a good basketball player, but good people. Obviously we want to work hard and win at a high level, but to me, when players are calling you 2-3 years down the road telling you that they got accepted into medical school or sending you a wedding invitation or telling you about something cool they did and able to still have that relationship. Yes, the wins matter, but like also you sit back, you're like, we're doing something right, that we're able to change lives and impact those young ladies and maybe help them figure out what they want to do next. So I know that is something that I will always hold near and dear. Don't get me wrong. I want to win, right? And I'm in year 3. We definitely need to win a championship here. We've come up short. But that's obviously the ultimate goal. But it's hard to say, leave a place better than you found it. It's going to be really hard one day to leave Drury better than I found it because it was pretty good when I got here. So
yeah, you found it in pretty good shape. Yeah.
Right. So, our goal is we just want to keep upholding that standard. We want to wear that name across our chest and carry the brand and make sure people still nationally know who we are, know we're a well-coached team, that we're high energy, we're fun, and that people dread to play against us.
You hear a lot of times that teams take on the personality of their coach when they were a player. And I just look at the stats and, Drury's second in the nation in 3-point field goal percentage at just under 40%, lead the GLVC in overall field goal percentage at just under 45%. Looking back at your bio, you were a 3-point shooter at Southern Illinois, came down and played the Lady Bears a few times in Missouri Valley Conference play. Talk about your path to coaching. I mean, you grew up is it Dresden, Tennessee?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of a Tennessee accent, which sounds like you're adding an Ozarks flair to it as well. So Ozarks, Tennessee, I guess, is what you're developing there. But talk about growing up in the state of Tennessee, playing basketball, and what made you want to be a coach.
Yeah, so from Northwest Tennessee, small town near UT Martin, which is in the OVC. So that's kind of where we would go for things. But small school, small town, everyone knew everybody and everyone's business. So, but grew up there, played basketball, knew I really wanted to play in college. And kind of was going through the recruiting process. I broke my ankle my junior year, so right in kind of probably the heavy part of your recruitment. So kind of really didn't get the recruitment I wanted. I've been offered by UT Martin. I didn't want to stay at home. I actually took a visit to UIndy that's in this conference back when Terry Morin was there before she moved on to Indiana State and Indiana. Took a visit to Murray State, Bethel that was right there in town, and just – nothing felt right. Didn't really know where I wanted to go. And obviously, played my senior year and my coach sent out some more stuff and he was like, hey, SIU responded to me. They're interested. I had no idea where it was, who it was. And he was like, it's only 2 hours away. And I'm like, yeah, I'll look at it. And they sent like the big media guide. And so I was like, sure, I'll talk to him. So had no idea where Carbondale, Illinois was. And so kind of just went from there. And they did a good job of recruiting, got really close to the assistant coaches, Jody Adams, which is who I ended up working for at Wichita State. So obviously built that connection. And so went to there. And my big thing, it kind of in high school, I knew I wanted to coach. I'm one of those rare people that kind of knew what they wanted to do, and it kind of worked out. I'm lucky. I knew I kind of wanted to coach. I didn't want to go play overseas. I was like, I think I really want to coach. I couldn't imagine not being around the sport. And I knew I wasn't going to play in the WNBA or anything like that. So coaching was kind of the route I wanted to take. I felt like I always understood the game. And I really was I remember just being a sponge. I thought my coaches were the best in our league at the time at scouting. Like our scouts were so detailed in how we did things and how we did film. And I love that. And that's definitely who I am now. Still as a head coach, I take on some scouts myself just because I love scouting so much. I love watching film. We're big on film and tendencies and those things. And we change things game to game based on who we're playing. And so that was important to me too, trying to figure out where I wanted to go to school is who was going to help me get to where I wanted to be. Yes, I wanted to play, but who was going to help me grow? Who was either going to be connections? Where was I going to learn knowledge for what was next? The ball wasn't going to bounce forever. And I definitely think I made the right decision. My head coach played for Penn State. Jody, my assistant, played for Tennessee. Susan, my other assistant, played for Iowa, and the other assistant played for Bradley. So I had 4 females that all played Division I basketball, is who I got to play for 4 years. So that was really instrumental and kind of who I am today and my philosophies and how I do things. And then from there, it was kind of as I went on and, okay, what's next? How do I get into coaching? My head coach was really good friends with Cindy Stein, who was at Mizzou at that time. Yeah. So I went and worked camps at Mizzou, probably 2 different summers. Ended up going to work in Tennessee camps. So I just worked a lot of camps to make connections and was like, okay, I'm going to get a GA position. That's kind of the next step to get my feet in the door kind of thing. And got a GA position. I was actually supposed to go to Western Illinois, and they ended up getting funding cut and lost their GA position at that time. So was kind of scrambling at the last minute and came across Arkansas Monticello. Had no idea where it was. Kind of came about it, a friend through a friend. And their GA, she decided she wanted to go into the military. So she was about to go into the Air Force Academy. And so she was trying to help her head coach find a new GA and asked one of my friends. And she was like, no, I already have a position, but I know someone else that's looking. Interview with the head coach on a Monday. He said, call me back by 5:00. I called back on Monday at 5, and I moved on a Wednesday. Had no idea where Monticello was.
You became a boll weevil.
Yeah. So, and had my trailer packed, all my stuff, and actually drove straight to Little Rock on that Wednesday because grad school had already started. This was in August, and met with the grad program there in sport management. Hey, can I get in classes late? Here's the situation. Got into Monticello late Wednesday night, showed up on campus Thursday, and the rest is history. And I always say it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I got to do so much as a Division II GA. My head coach had just taken over athletic director, so he was really busy with that. It was just him and I. I got to do everything. I did our study hall. I did all of our strength and conditioning. I got to be on the court. I made some of my best and biggest recruiting connections as a GA, coaches that I still keep in contact with today, programs I still keep in contact with today. So landing at a small Division II with a small staff, if you really want to coach, go to a D2 where a head coach lets you have responsibility. It was the best thing for me. So I spent 2 years there and then kind of went on from there and been coaching ever since.
You see a lot of the older coaches now, especially at the Division I level, especially at the Power 4 level, saying, I'm done. I don't want to do this. It's not fun. NIL, the transfer portal doesn't seem to be quite as bad on the women's side in terms of basketball as the men's. but still, I mean, you got to be thinking there's going to be people coming after Sarah Mendel. When you have that many double doubles in a year and you do what you've done, is that just kind of, it is what it is now for you guys? And it's a part of, I mean, you don't have to worry about some of the other things, but some of the things they don't have to worry about, like fundraising, et cetera. You've got to keep all that in mind. So it's more than just coaching basketball on a floor anymore, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a lot more than just, a lot of people think we just show up on game days and it's X and O's. There's so much more that go to it. And obviously I've had a lot of conversations with Nyla about it. And, like you said, NIL's not big yet in Division II, but it's headed our way. And it's can we figure out how to do it? Because right now, like a program like us, we compete with that low-level D1 kid. We're competing against the OVC. We recruit against UT Martin and SEMO and Western Illinois all the time. And so we're trying to get that kid, and where, in Molly Miller's era, you could get a local kid to stay home because you could win and you had great facilities, right? Or you could get that borderline D1 kid because they might go sit the bench there, but they could come win because we have great facilities in O'Reilly Center, right? We have the best in Division II, but now money plays a part in it. And I'd rather go sit the bench as long as I'm getting some money, because my friend's getting some money. I want money too. And so winning in facilities is not the end all be all now, just because the money side has blown up. So the landscape has changed a lot. So whereas 2 years ago we're recruiting, hey, who's a kid we can go find and we can develop? Like, let's go get maybe not the most talented kid out of high school, but if you look, our roster is majority high school kids, and you look at who's having success right now, it's our high school kids. So can we get that maybe less talented kid that is appreciative to be a part of and wants to uphold the brand and the standard and doesn't care about all the fluff, and let's develop them and just work really hard. And then let's create a great environment so then they don't want to leave. There's no doubt. There's no doubt Sarah Mendel's getting a call this year. I mean, I have no doubt. I hope I find out about it, because it'll be tampering with, because she's not going in the portal kind of thing. But I'm dumb to think that no one would, with the year and the numbers she's having. But at the end of the day, control what you can control. We feel like we have helped her develop into the player she is. Coach Smith has done a good job of working one-on-one with her. She works with our post players. She's built a good relationship with her. Our whole staff has a good relationship with our players. Obviously, we went to Brazil together this summer. There's no doubt someone's going to pick up the phone and offer her money. And I think she's going to have to make a decision of, do I want to stay where I'm valued and I know I'm successful? Or am I going to chase the money? And so, again, that's where we try to build such a good environment that people don't want to leave because they like it here. You're treated well. You're taken care of. And grass isn't always greener. So,
yeah. And a lot of kids are finding that out too. There's a lot of kids with a lot of regret. Hey, maybe I should have stayed where I was. And that's one of the negative down products of this transfer portal and everything we have going on today. So, well, Kaci, I know you got practice to get to. Big matchup with SBU tomorrow night. 1 point game last time up in Bolivar. You don't want it that close again to take
not at all.
Down the last. I got to think back, and I love following your results and your scores, and the game at Upper Iowa where you won on the last second buzzer beater 3 from the corner. Do you think that's played a big part of what you guys are doing right now in terms of confidence and this 9-game winning streak?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, when I go back, like if someone can really go back and look at all of our games and just all the situations we've been in, I joke all the time. I'm like, guys, I am all drawn out. Like y'all have put me in too many late game situations to try to draw up something. I'm all drawn out for the year kind of thing. Cause I mean, what our third game of the year, we went into double overtime with Texas A&M International and come out and win. So no doubt, and you think about, we got up a lot at SBU in the third quarter. We were up double digits, and they just chipped away and came back. And again, we can't ever relax, and the game's never over, right? We're up 15, someone comes back and makes it a 1-point ball game, and they actually had the ball with a shot to score, and we end up making a big stop. So again, it gave us trust in our defense that we can get down and guard and stop someone when the game's on the line. But it also has shown us down 15, the game's not over. We go on the road to Maryville, we start off down 15, and we come back, and Reed Gibbons has a shot to tie the ball game, and it rolls out. We're on the road at Lewis, down 12 with 3:30 to go. We come back and we win by 10. So, the game, just all these situations we've been in, like, we've just never lost belief that the game's not over, that we can do it. So we're on the road at Lewis, down 12. We win by 10. We go to Upper Iowa on Saturday. We're really tired. We get down. We're down probably 9. Then we go up 9. And then it's a back and forth. We're down 4 with 10.6 seconds left. Wow. Nobody wins ball games like that usually. So we call a timeout. We draw a quick play to get a quick 3, like 2 seconds come off the clock. Josie Story banks it in. So we're down 1. They call a timeout. Our goal is switch everything to steal. On the pass in, try to go get a jump ball. They were making free throws. Let's try to get a jump ball. It's our ball. Not put them on the free throw line. If we can't get a jump ball, obviously foul, but the goal was to go for a jump ball first. We switch everything to steal. They panic. They throw it out of bounds. We get the ball right back. We try to go into Reed Gibbons. It's a bobble. Everybody gets some hands on it. Then it's a jump ball. We get the ball back. 1.5 seconds. No timeouts. Down 1 point. So Sarah Mendel curls to the rim. Reed curls to the rim. Everybody thinks we're going for the lob. Josie Story cuts. Is a phenomenal bounce pass by Reagan. So a lot of people don't know. We're down 4 with 10.6 seconds, and the same kid banks in 2 3-pointers to win the game. So
that's crazy.
Again, just our kids not giving up. There were multiple times in that game. We were tired. We were up 9. We were down 9. We could have just folded. And there's still 1.5 seconds, and we have the confidence and belief to just let it fly, and made a good shot, made a good pass, and come out on top. So again, it's just I'm proud of them. They're the ones getting it done. I haven't scored a point for Drury University ever. And they just believe, and they work hard, and they're a fun group to coach.
Awesome. Well, I know you got a big one tomorrow night. You got a big one coming a week from Thursday. Thankfully, you got a weekend off to kind of catch your breath and get ready for them. So hopefully get a big crowd over there. So Kaci, again, thanks for your time, and best of luck down the stretch.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You betcha. Take care. Kaci Bailey, head coach at the Drury Lady Panthers program, doing a great job over there, and touched on it there in the interview, but that's a tough situation to walk into when your former boss invites you to come down and take over a program that's had Molly Miller and Amy Egan taking it to top 5 in the nation level there too, and to jump right in, and a bunch of kids gone. I think Casey's done a great job getting it back now to where Lady Panther basketball expects to be every year. Big thank you to our sponsors. I want to thank them for their continued support. Thompson Sales, located at 1555 East Independence in South Springfield. They've been in business since 1919, and the Thompson Sales is your home for the largest selection of Cadillac, Buicks, and GMC cars and trucks, new and used. They've got a great service department to take care of your vehicle, all at Thompson Sales, where the Thompson boys have been dealing since 1919. Also, thanks to Colton Steakhouse of Springfield, just down the street from Thompson's, located at 2020 East Independence. Great place to go have a great meal before you go buy that car or truck at Thompson's, or after, to celebrate, because you're going to have a great steak. The barbecue is delicious. The burgers are the best in town because they use steak meat for those burgers. And don't forget those wonderful hot rolls and the fresh peanuts too. So go by and give Colton's a try, and say hi to Thomas Orr and his folks there at Colton Steakhouse. And finally, Deadeye Gun in Sparta. They're located at 7483 Main Street in Sparta. Can't miss it if you're driving down Sparta, and it's right there on the main drag. Or you can visit deadeyegunsupply.com to check out their selection of guns, pistols, rifles, the supplies, ammunition. They've got it all at Deadeye Gun. Again, thank you to those 3 businesses for being sponsors of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. That's going to do it for this week's edition. Again, thanks to Kaci Bailey for her time. We will see you next week on Around the Ozarks Sports Scene.